Hello interwebs, tis I, Sebastian Majoni, and this is F3G2, coming at you live-ish from the back of Famous Faces and Funnies. And this episode will probably be rather, it'll probably closely follow last week's episode, because Mr. Proud Papa has been busy being all proud papa. It's hard to get all, hey, where's my, when he's like, oh, look, I got my baby. And he hasn't even been annoying. He's given updates, but he hasn't even given the obligatory 52 bajillion photos of the brand new baby. So
thank God.
He's like he's either one of the best friends you could have or one of the worst dads a kid could have. It could go either way.
Hey, just because he has a picture doesn't mean he needs to share the pictures.
He's like, oh shit, I forgot to upload all my pictures. I was too busy uploading these dumbasses comic review show.
They're entertaining, damn it.
I feel I've ruined your whole family. But no, once again, congratulations, Stephen Stephen et al. And let's get started on some reviewables.
Yay.
Jason Aaron and Ron Garney's Men of Wrath.
I just like the name.
This book is so good. I didn't know exactly what to expect other than it's Jason Aaron, so I knew it would be a really great story because he's like one of my favorite writers. And I knew that the art would be great because I have always loved Ron Garney. The man came here, got a little side Ron Garney story. Ron Garney became my personal hero back in the day at Collector's Comics, comic store I used to work at. They did the Marvel Mega Tour, right? Marvel picked stores that sold enough Marvel merchandise to be deemed worthy, and they sent Marvel talent to be at the store doing signings and whatever. Most of them, they didn't really do any sketches. They were just kind of signing stuff because it was like crazy. Somewhere I have a signed, this Mega Tour thing. Ron Garney signed it. He was one of the ones that was there. He was working on, I want to say, Ghost Rider at the time. That's how far back this goes. Yeah, we had Ron Garney, and some guys named Peter David and John Romita Sr. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of them. But Ron Garney was a fresh new face at the time. Kid came in with that Marvel 50 Years hardcover, opens it up, inside covers, the inside page, he's got just all these different signatures, all right, from different people. Now you have to remember, this is 90s era. So one of the signatures he had gotten was Rob Liefeld, who signed at the convention. Apparently, according to the kid, Rob Liefeld said, I'll show you. You want this? And he signed his name right through the word Marvel on the title page. So when the kid explained this to Ron Garney, Ron said, "Okay," and signed his name right through Rob Liefeld's name. And the kid looked both ecstatic and devastated. We all thought it was hysterical, and that's been like a great get yourself drinks at a convention story for me to tell ever since. So, thank you, Ron. Anyway, didn't know what to expect for this. Turns out this was so good. There's a family with the last name of Wrath, all right, which but it's Wrath without the W. But for the double entendre, the cover goes with the full out W. But anywho, each generation of the Wrathmen has become more violent than the previous.
Oh, wow.
Though at first they weren't violent at all, there was, some incidents that led to it. But our hero, no, let's go with our protagonist, because he's not a hero.
Anti-hero?
He's not even. He's a guy who basically, when you need someone, it takes place in like, I forget where. It's not anywhere where you're expecting like mafia kind of stuff. It takes place in Alabama, and people go to him when they need someone to disappear. You meet him, he's killing a family. He kills a husband and wife, and then turns around and goes, "Oh, I almost forgot," because there's this crying, and there's a baby in a car seat crying. And he whips the car seat. He had them walk out into like this marshland, this bog, to shoot them so that the bodies would sink and he wouldn't have to whatever. The baby's crying. He just takes the car seat and throws it into the film. And wow. No more Wes. So there's nothing, you know. There's no, oh, so he's a good guy who does bit. No. But along the lines, he gets a special hit that they come to him and they're like, look, you know, we wanted you to know. And he's being hired to kill his own son. And
awesome.
We're not sure. It ends off with the kind of cliffhangery. Has he taken the job or is he going to warn his son? We don't know yet. But it is called the Men of Wrath, plural. So I'm assuming maybe there's going to be a team up. But it could be the Men of Wrath if it's one hunting the other. It could go either way. But it was really, really good. So well done. Read that. Action Comics. Who needs Superman? This is Action Comics number 35. I forgot DC Comics have a number again. Last month they were all number ones.
True.
Clark returns from outer space. And we get the most helpful and family-oriented Supergirl we've seen since the New 52. So that was good. She's actually, like, you know, supportive and there and concerned, and it's good. We get Clark with a beard, because they like doing that, because...
why not?
Because, you know, Henry Cavill wore one so well. Then now they all draw bearded Clark. But Clark thinks that the world might be better off without Superman and writes this paper, you know, he writes this article, Why Does the World Need a Superman? And Lois Lane picks up the challenge and goes, you know what? I know I wrote something that almost expressed the same kind of thought when all of this started, but let me tell you why we need it. And she basically calls Clark out. And there's a great line that Greg Pak writes where Clark is like, as she's yelling at Clark, Lois is chewing Clark out and defending Superman while doing so. And Clark's like, I feel like I just lost and found my best friend ever, you know, because she's clearly mad at Clark, but she's defending Superman to Clark. So it's, you know, a little yin with her yang. So that was good. Speaking of Greg Pak super stuff, here's the Batman Superman number 14. They've lost their memories. That little chaos trickster has stolen their memories and then given them to Lord Satanus. So,
awesome.
Batman, apparently if you strip down their basic memories, Batman still wants to be a nice guy but doesn't know how to find his drive, and Superman's a dick. Who knew? That's what it boils down to. It's good. I like the Batman parts a bit more than the Superman parts this time around. You have Alfred breaking down, really great scene of Alfred breaking down as Batman's like, I don't know, how the hell did I do this? And he's like, Alfred has to explain to him about his parents, and he's like, yeah, no, I read the files up, you know, they're dead, right? He goes, they were murdered. You were there. That's what sparked this. He goes, but Alfred's like, you know, you don't need to get the spark back. You can just be Bruce now. You know, you mourn them. You've done more than enough. Now you can just be Bruce and not have to. And he's like, I don't know. I think I have to do this. So that determination is still there, even without necessarily a strong compass reading on where he's going. Green Arrow number 35 was good, not great. I loved the Jeff Lemire Green Arrow. I'm going to give this a little bit to try and ease into it. But ultimately, it's the writers, some of the writers from Arrow, Andrew Kreisberg and Ben Sokolowski, do the writing. And there were a couple problems I had. One was the generic problem that it's not Jeff Lemire, and I really like that. More specific problems included a lot of Ollie's dialogue was clunky. I'm like, you don't even write him this clunky on the show, and you throw some clunkers out there for the show. It works for the show. I love the show, but the show is a separate Green Arrow than the DC Green Arrow. All right. This it's a little more in sync with, they've already introduced Diggle. They introduce another from the show character. Well, she's from comics, but then was put into the show and became a big thing in the show, and now they've moved her back into comic. And it's not really a huge spoiler to go, hey, I'm Felicity Smoke. What? Everybody knew she was coming.
I thought she was back already.
Not in the comics yet. This is her big thing. But there's a bit where Lex Luthor and Bruce Wayne, who've merged their companies over in Justice League, they're working together anyway because Lex knows. They're talking, but there's this whole bit where I realize it's the New 52, but this whole bit where Bruce hasn't figured out that he's Green Arrow, and Green Arrow hasn't figured out that Bruce is Batman, didn't work for me. There's all these little things of, oh, you're supposed to be a big businessman, but what do you do with all your time that you're always here and away and blah, blah, blah. What are you hiding? Seriously, I thought we were past this. They should all know who the hell everybody is at this point. And that threw me. So all in all, it's like an almost full 180 from the Jeff Lemire direction of the book. It's almost too much of... It's a hard thing to find a balance between the comic and the show, and there's almost too much show worked in already. And some of the dialogue was pretty clunky, and I didn't like the whole Bruce, Ollie, Lex back and forth. So no. This was weird. New Captain America number 25, last issue of Cap before we get the new Captain America. Everybody knows who it's going to be. It's the Falcon. But they even address that. It's almost like it's multiple books. It was very strange. It ends the previous storyline where we find out Falcon survived his getting blown up at the end, which we knew he was going to survive because we already knew he was the new Captain America. So there was literally no worry that anything would go badly there.
Could have been an
but then it cuts to this 1 week later, and there's like everyone who's ever been an Avenger ever. Freaking Red Wolf is back there. I mean, come on. So everyone who's ever been an Avenger ever is here. There's everyone making jokes, including Cap. Cap's joke was supposed to not go over well, but a lot of it just seemed not totally in character for everybody. Cap trying to make the joke of that he's changing his name. He's going to stay active. He's going to call himself General Geriatric. And he's like, nothing, really? That joke didn't really work for me. But this is a great moment where they introduce the new Captain America, and Sam is standing there and he actually says, you guys all knew it was me, didn't you? There's literally no drama left in this reveal. And it's true. So that was pretty good. But all in all, the issue overall seemed really hurried, and more almost like a fill-in. Like we could have done this in 2 or 3 pages in the beginning of the new Captain America without this. It's almost like a placeholder. It's like what they call an employee who knows that it's like their last day at work or their last week at work, so they don't care about anything anymore, and they get that lame just duck.
Checked out.
Yeah, it's just whatever. Aquaman number 6, Aquaman and the Others number 6, is good. It's got a little bit of everybody. The Vostok clone that claims he's the original is there and hasn't decided how to handle the team. Yara, she keeps throwing herself at Aquaman, and Mira isn't having any of it. And we're all let in with the wink and a nudge to, we just saw that in the potential 5-year future, Aquaman and Mira are on the outs, and he's hooking up, with Yara and all that. KG Beast is involved, and it's good. I liked the first bit, but it was a little rough. This is actually a great jumping on point. It's a fresh start at the beginning to new storylines. Great introduction to everybody that's in here, and while the other stuff was good, this is better than the first 5 issues and the Futures End thing. So there's a good Batman Eternal number 26. Bat Family meets Penny 2. Yeah, they all meet. And Hush is like, he's a douche, but he's out Batmaning Batman like at every turn. They've made Hush. You know, right now I'd be hard pressed to say, if you said, who's Batman's number one villain. You want to say Joker just on reflex, but you got to say, you know what? In New 52, Joker got his face ripped off, disappeared for a while, came back for a story called Death of the Family where he killed nobody but made them all not trust each other. That not trust pretty much lasted for like 3 months. And then they all had no choice but, well, we kind of got to work together. So, they're all back to, it may be uneasy, but they're all working through it. And, whereas Hush has taken over Gotham, outthought Batman, fucked up Alfred. This has been really, really good. Not for Batman, but it's been really, really good. Justice League number 14. It looks like, whereas everyone's so busy looking over at Lex and going, what's your sneaky plan being on the Justice League? They're forgetting to go and look over here and go, what's your sneaky plan working for Lex and being on the Justice League? And it looks like Captain Cold's got a little less than altruistic purposes for being here. Lex has a heart-to-heart with a couple of different members. Flash bonds with Power Ring. And Lex then surprises us with, I won't even give you a spoiler, Lex surprises us with a last page where Lex has made a deal. We knew he was shady. We knew he was up to something. But even I did not see, and it's brilliant, who Lex would team up with in his plot for for all the Marvels. Holy the crap. Justice League 3000. Just knowing what's going to happen, this book is already better. You've got Camelot 3000 and Etrigan, so that's good. You've got the Justice League. Clark and Bruce are starting to become almost more themselves. Hal is a better Hal than he's been in years. This is the best Hal since Jeff Johns, and this Hal isn't even true Hal because of their weird little way that they get created, where they're not clones, but they're like parasitic nanites that redo someone's personality and DNA to turn them into the person that they're trying to reprogram it. So yeah, but for every step forward that those three take in trying to become more like they were, Wonder Woman is going the opposite way. Wonder Woman is just like the daughter of Big Barda and original Lobo. She's just ass kicking, bloodthirsty biznatch. Flash is interesting simply because it's part Barry's DNA and part Terry. Not Terry. What the hell's her name?
No,
no, it's the one. They were the two. They called them the Wonder Twins, but I don't remember their names. And they weren't like any of our Wonder Twins, but they were these Cadmus geniuses. One went a little more evil than the other and killed his sister, but they brought her back as the Flash. But this time they didn't use the full Flash conversion, so she's got his powers, some of his memories, and whatever. But it's still primarily her in the driver's seat. But this is really, really good. And then, of course, the greatest little thing is the last issue. The last page says, next, more in Camelot, more with Etrigan, the birth of the Injustice League 3000, and a stunning discovery on Takron Galtos. That stunning discovery, I'm pretty sure, since that's it, next issue will be number 11, and issue 12 introduces the found frozen Blue Beetle and Booster Gold. I'm thinking that's the Discovery. And number 11 has always been my favorite number. Now number 11 is going to give me back Blue Beetle and Moose of Gold. Oh, yeah.
Calm down.
Lobo number 1. This is why I mentioned original Lobo. This is the book I had the most mixed emotions about ordering. But I ordered it and I bought it.
How did you suffer through that?
Because it wasn't suffering. That was the hardest part to handle. They took this character that I didn't want to give any craps about, and they had him kill a character that I gave several craps about. Yeah, the original Lobo. But then they did the most underhanded thing a comic book company could do to me. But the kind of thing they love to do to me. The only thing comic book companies love to do to me more than taking one of my favorite characters, characters I love and am totally invested in, and giving them to creators that I just can't stand, is to take characters I actively don't care about or act honestly hate and give them to creators I love. So they took this new Lobo that I just didn't... Mostly I didn't care one way or the other, but the concept of him kind of irked me. And they gave him to Cullen Bunn, who, as we know, is in the Delta trifecta of my all-time favorite writers. What's a man to do? Well, man sucks up and deals, and he buys the book, and he reads it. And... it was a lot of fun. It starts at, I'll show you. I'll give you this. The original Lobo talking back and forth with new Lobo, but it turns out that's just Lobo's talking head. Literally, those were talking head panels. Lobo's been decapitated, and then he fries the head with enough weaponized gigakelvins to ensure not even a native-born Zarnian can gen from it. So there's no regeneration. Right, they show the little burned out, mostly skull of a head. Interesting enough, if you want to think of it that way, his decapitated body is still there, torn open. So I suppose there's a gateway, if anybody ever wants to later, that the body could regenerate. Plus, I guess the old rule of a Zarnian regenerates from every drop of blood, I guess that's out, or there'd be like a billion of the old school Lobos. What's really sad, though, in these pages is you realize the artist on this, Riley Brown, draws a great original Lobo. And really, this could have been great. And it is great, but it's not, it's not great if you wanted the original Lobo. We've now got new Lobo, and the story... great. I'm already 100% on board. Apparently this Lobo has a weakness for dogs versus weakness for space dolphins. But basically he's hired out right after he recovers from killing himself, as it were. He's hired out to kill like 8 of the best other bounty hunters out there who've been hired to kill one target on Earth. He's not told what the target is. He's just told that someone wants it stopped, and the best way to stop it is to take out these other bounty hunters. So it's Lobo after the runner-up for Lobo status bounty hunters, and that story in and of itself is really good. We don't find out who it is, but apparently Lobo finds out who they're after, and whoever it is, he clearly has beef because he ends by saying. Hell, whoever's funding this little killing spree should have hired me. I would have almost done the job for free. But it's good. In fact, if you can get past the fact that he doesn't look like Lobo, it reads like Lobo. Without the over-the-top, some of the Lobo series got way too over-the-top. He's not yelling out Fiedel's Giz, and nobody's talking about how his name means he who eats your entrails and thoroughly enjoys it. Also, it seems like a Lobo was a title on, because both Lobos talk about, well, a Lobo doesn't, original Lobo, as he's dying, says, I didn't take your name, I didn't steal it. A Lobo takes, he doesn't ask, that's what a Lobo does. You should be thanking me. And then the other Lobo says, at one point when he's sparing dogs, he's like, I don't kill dogs. A Lobo's got to have a code. So, it almost seems like it's a title. He does have nightmares about what went down, leading to Zarnia's extinction, as it were. So it was actually really, really good. And I knew it would be because it was Cullen Bunn. It was just, could I get past New Lobo? And as much as I find if you're going to make a character who's supposed to be the most badass killer in all of space, maybe you should use a little less almost glowing baby blue in the color scheme for the little weird markings on his face and in his hair. But other than that, yeah, Cullen Bunn turned me around. Go figure. Future's End number 14. A lot of stuff happens. We're back to touching on everybody. But the best thing, this will be my whole review for this. Best thing on this is they introduced my 2 new favorite characters in the DC universe. And when this is done, they better introduce them in current timeline. They are these 2 twin sisters who have super strength and invulnerability that increases based on their proximity to each other. All right, so they each wear half a Union Jack shirt, and but their superhero names, because they are super tough and have the ability to beat the crap out of you. One is called Bangers, and one is called Banger, and the other one is called Mash. They are Banger and Mash. It's brilliant. That's the greatest thing in ever. Rat Queen's number 8. Oh, they wrote it as a word. I'm looking for a number, and it's right there in freaking front.
Words.
Didn't expect that. You are so sneaky. It's Rat Queen's. You already know it's great. The art is great. The story is great. Plus, this is an origin. This is a throwback to the humble beginnings of Vi, our dwarven hero, Violet Blackforge, who is like my favorite in this anyway. She's the one I want my wife to cosplay. And in this, she's bearded, and it's actually just even. It's just even better. And we get the origin of her non-bearded look and what it is that drove her out to be the Rat Queen that she is today. Really, really well done. Beautiful book. Everybody read Rat Queens. Spider-Man 2099. Matt Gargan, the Scorpion, is pissed that Spider-Man ripped his jaw off. Unfortunately, there are 2 minor problems with that. The Spider-Man that ripped his jaw off was the Doc Ock Superior Spider-Man. Doc Ock's mind is gone. Peter Parker's back in charge now. That's not even the real problem. Real problem is he's currently fighting Spidey 2099. He's fighting Miguel O'Hara, and Miguel is like, I had nothing to do with this. This isn't me, but I realize this is not the time to try and have this conversation. So there's a
Commence the pummeling.
A victory as Miguel figures out how to outthink Matt Gargan, which admittedly isn't the toughest thing to do. There's another victory as his grandfather there, Tiberius Stone, has, while not his heart didn't grow 3 sizes that day, but it grew a little bit. There's a sliver of heart growth. And then, then he ends up, since the Scorpion is actually working for Tiberius Stone, in the end he ends up in a car next to Miguel, and they're both in their street clothes. Everyone knows Mac is Scorpion, but no one knows that Miguel is Spidey 29. So they're just like, do I know you? Have we met? He's like, no. Throughout the whole conversation that they're having, he just keeps looking at, you sure? Yes. You sure we never met? Yes. So, that was fun. Gotham Academy number 1. Brilliant. It is everything that I hoped. What the hell's that thing with Ike?
Oh, Morning Glories.
It's everything I hoped Morning Glories would be, and it turned out it wasn't. This is great. This is like, I want to know why this girl doesn't like Batman at all, but there's this girl at Gotham Academy, a swanky little boarding school. She's on the Wayne Scholarship, and she's an adventurer at heart, because if you're going to live in Gotham, you have to be. Is that plane just circling the damn building?
Sounds like it.
What the hell is happening out there?
They're targeting us.
For the amount of sound it's making, it should have been like, miles away from us by now. But the art is gorgeous. The story is great. It was fun. It was quirky. It was serious. This is like, it's like the teen drama that adults can buy into that takes place in Gotham is really the best way to put it. So good. Let's do these together. Godhead. Godhead Act 1 Part 1, and then Godhead Act 1 Part 2 in Green Lantern number 35. So Godhead number 1 and Green Lantern number 35. The New Gods have discovered that the source wall has been breached. They know it's by a White Lantern. They don't know who the White Lantern is, but they're pretty much convinced that the White Ring is the life equation, the antithesis to the anti-life equation, obviously, that that basically Darkseid has had a hard-on for since his creation. So Allfather, not Allfather, Highfather wants what is happening out there? Highfather wants the life equation. He wants to find a white ring. Finds out that the white ring is generated by all the other colors. Sends the New Gods out to just kick the ass of somebody on each core and steal their rings. Turns out that doesn't work the way he wants it to, so now they're after the white ring. Everyone thinks Kyle is dead. So the Green Lanterns already form up to do a fight. St. Walker, who has given up on hope, is starting to be motivated because not only did they take his ring, they stole, when they came to steal, and then when they stole his ring, Orion stole his ring and the ring of a Green Lantern, but not just any Green Lantern. Orion's got balls of steel. He stole Mogo's ring.
Oh.
Mogo's just basically a planet now. Without his ring, he can't really communicate. It's so good. Mogo has been the base of operations for St. Walker. He's a little miffed. So it's off to a good start. Death of Wolverine, still not dead yet. Kitty Pryde kicks ass. We find out who's after him. Someone from his Weapon X past. You can believe it. It's actually tight. Oh yeah, I'm going to show you a page right now. Yep. Remember Cyber, the guy with the adamantium skin?
Oops.
Forget him. Well, he's as dead as anybody ever is in these damn comics. But hopefully he stays dead because he always annoyed me. But it also ties into the Wolverine and Kitty Pryde limited series. Who knew that such a thing would ever be referenced? I mean, I like that series, but it's usually a sign that nobody else cares.
Typically.
But yeah, there's like Abraham Cornelius Abraham. I don't know who that is, but apparently he's from a Weapon X he kind of passed, and it's all his fault. So it's Charles Soule. The story's good. I'm liking the story end, even if I think, like everybody else, I think that killing Wolverine is a little overrated and clearly not meant to stick. But hey, Swamp Thing number 35, also Charles Soule. What? Double Souls. So good. This introduces in current timeline, really, the new. You've got the red, the green, the whatever, and now you've got the machine. And how do you deal with it? A machine thinks very differently than everybody else. And are we picking up his snoring on this?
I hope not.
Someone go kick him. But the machine speaks in part machine term, part like techie jargon, and part just aspects of popular quotes and things that it picks up from, on the web and on, it's got direct access to Hulu. It doesn't want an avatar. It doesn't think they're necessary. It wants to compartmentalize. It wants to run everything. It's like, look, I'll run the green for you because really we are a system. We are code. We are management. That's what we do. It's what we want to do. Then you can be free to be more like a plant-like superhero. We'll keep the green run. We don't want to be in charge of it. We don't want to control it. We just want to run it for you because we're basically a sentient operating system. This is pretty much our deal in life. So it's kind of an interesting concept. let's see. We got Thor #1 with the new,
Lady Thor.
yeah, the new Lady Thor that we're not supposed to call Lady Thor, but you know, when you make a big deal of saying, well, look, we're going to make Thor a woman, but it's not she Thor, it's not Lady Thor, she's Thor. But you have to describe them somehow. Well, which Thor? Since the other guy's name is actually Thor, and they're both going to be in the book. How do you distinguish between them? Original Thor, new Thor. Well, the most obvious difference is one's a lady. So there's guy Thor and girl Thor. I don't know what to tell you. That's really the only way. But we have her lift up the hammer. We're not 100% certain who she is. But it looks like, for all I know, she may be Thor's mom. But if not, she had something to do with it, because no one can pick up the hammer. And you see a silhouetted figure after she had just told Odin, who's pretty much ready to just shit himself, because even he can't lift the hammer. No one can lift the hammer. Odin put the enchantment on it, and he can't lift the hammer. But then you see the silhouetted figure say, there must always be a Thor. And you see the words glow. Whosoever holds this hammer, if he be worthy, shall possess the power. But an S appears now, and it says, if she be worthy. And then the girl picks it up and is our new Thor. It was a good issue. I like the art. It's got, like, at least cameo in a standing around scene of everybody. Frost giants are attacking. Thor picks up his axe and thinks he's going to stop Malekith. He gets disarmed.
Ooh.
Literally.
Of course.
Which explains that metal thing he's got on his, one arm. So, there's that. Legendary Star-Lord, and now Thanos. It's Star-Lord versus Thanos. All while he makes the bigger sin of pissing off Kitty Pryde. It's good, it's fun, it's Star-Lord, it's popular, it's big. Spider-Verse. Scary, creepy, monster movie, Bug Spidey. Slight differences. Instead of a loving Uncle Ben, he has an abusive Uncle Ted. The girl next door is Sarah Jane, not Mary Jane. And his Spidey powers just make him creepy and evil and kind of people eating. So we're not necessarily going to be upset if he buys it. He doesn't seem to be doing well. He seems to be losing against one of those spider hunting feeders. But then, his Mary Jane, Sarah Jane, is just spewing out spiders that he implanted in her. So that's not well. Kick him. Just kick him.
It didn't work.
Hold a pillow down over his face and count to 20. Fantastic Four Annual #4 had great art by Tom Grummett.
Moving on.
More Cullen Bunn. This is Cullen Bunn and Joelle Jones, Brides of Helheim, the sequel to Helheim. Our hero is looking a lot more human than when he was last covered in bits of various monsters and things, but quite possibly the most beautiful Viking era woman hunter, sword maiden, and her boy. So Sigrid and Brand show up. They need to avenge her father, who's been killed by I keep referring to this monster that has killed her father and is terrorizing them, and just the fact that it's her father kind of strikes a chord with Ricard. I can never remember. I always just want to think of him as Helheim, as the Dragoor. But Ricard, it strikes a chord with him, so he buys in. But she says the beast is, we call it Mordvig. It's basically, it's the demon bear from the same legend that they used for Brave. But if that bear didn't stand a chance against the chick from Brave, there's no way it stood the chance against Viking Frankenstein. So it goes poorly. But then there's, for the bear, the witches are looking for someone who betrayed them, and that's going to be the next part for our next story. Guardians 3000 #1, so good. All right. it's my original Guardians. It's Dan Abnett.
So,
But
you gotta do Charlie and all them.
yeah, it's weird. Everybody dies, and then they're not dead because there's something going on with time. But there are minor changes. Like in the beginning, you've got they all look exactly like they used to. Partway through, after they're dead and there's a reset, one of the minor differences is Starhawk's a girl, which has happened before, but no one seems to notice that it's a difference. And then things are going back. So this is why eventually they're going to have to go back in time to figure out what is causing all these disturbances. But it's great to see the originals back, and it's great to see them written by Dan Abnett, who just space Marvel. I got this. Grayson #3 is my favorite issue of Grayson. It really addresses, people are always like, what, Dick is now a spy and he's got a gun, but he's one of the Bat disciples. He never used a gun. And there's this Dick coming to terms with that and saying, look, even though I use a gun, I'm not a killer. That's not, he keeps repeating, that's not how I fight. Despite the fact that other people seem to think that should be the solution to everything. There are some deaths, there are some reveals. It's a great story. And looks like he may have tipped his hat a little too much because now spirally faced guy in charge knows that somebody's sending transmissions from inside and isn't sure who it is, but sends Helena in to figure it out. So that won't go well. Artwork is gorgeous. Story was great. Hit all the right notes. And Dick's already James Bonding it up, and there's a great little just cutaway. She keeps calling him Wing Knight. This other agent keeps calling him Wing Knight. He's like, that's not my name. And it's not my name. My name is, and the next panel is her looking all in the act of the sexy, just yelling out Dick. So, yeah, and then, he's get it on. He's already got his James Bond on, so good on you, literally. The Woods by James Tynion and Michael DeAlinas. Still one of my favorite indies. This gives us both some flashbacks and some moving forwards with the story. We find out that apparently Dr. Robot is a rare, friendly spider monkey alien thing, because the other ones are not so nice. But you get a great origin for Calder, and you get the tragic death of their weird dino dodo looking bird at the hands of the spider monkey thing. So it's the end of Wally. Things don't look great for anybody, really, and even the woods themselves. The trees all open up when they get ready, when they think there's a swarm of blood coming through. So I don't know what's going on with it. But if we blow up, you won't know because we haven't uploaded this.
Yep.
Silver Surfer #6, Dan Slott's Shiny Doctor Who continues. Dr. Surfer, Silver Who, whatever you want to call it. That's basically what it is. It turns out Dan Slott should get a job for writing for Doctor Who because he'd write a great Doctor Who. That's the whole trick to this, is Dan Slott pitched Silver Surfer as a shiny Doctor Who. At this point, I say just go ahead and give him an English accent and complete the thing. That's not a knock, even if you're not a Doctor Who fan. These are great stories, and I may have ruined it for you by going, oh, it seems like Doctor Who, and you're like, oh, I can't like Doctor Who because I'm one of those. But it's good. Wonder Woman #34. I'm gonna be sad when this team ends, but my wallet will be happier because it'll be $2.99 a month more. I'm not spending because I am buying the Finch and Finch Wonder Woman. Don't care. But this is built into a head. Lots of stuff happening. Some changes inside. Some changes in. Oh, it's so gorgeous to look at. I love this book. I love it. Bloodshot #24. Flashback. A lot of flashbacks lately. To the year 2000, and Bloodshot is overseas working on restoring order to the Ukraine, but this is back when he's still a controlled puppet, Bloodshot. Dream Thief, The Escape, number 4 of 4. Ends with the words "not the end," and that's all I needed to know because I love this book. This is the story of a guy who has inherited a family ability and a family mask that basically means when he goes to sleep, he is possessed by ghosts of people that have been murdered who now use his form, use his body to get their revenge so that they can rest. And in this case, he's hanging out with another guy who has the same ability, who's currently possessed by the ghost of his father, and they're trying to avenge his father who died 6 months ago, which is what made the power and the mask move on to our hero in the first place. Sherlock Holmes versus Harry Houdini. Interesting. There's someone after Harry Houdini who keeps calling him a fake and says he should confess. Sherlock Holmes has been arrested and is having some problems on his path to enlightenment, shall we say. But is interesting. So it was, I give it a worth a read. Suicide Risk, number 18. I love this book. I don't know what to tell you. We've got to look at another character, Brian Haft, the Prismatic, who had high ideals, but when the cause got going, he didn't like the amount of deaths they were responsible for. So in order to save the deaths, and what he thought was save his girlfriend from herself, as she had gone a little overboard with her lead role in this, he betrayed everybody so that they could get caught and not, and he's like, look, I'm all with the cause, but why do so many people have to die for this cause? Along the way, his girlfriend, of course, not thrilled with his betrayal status. She gets put into the program, so she's in our world with no memory of herself. He eventually can't take it, gets put in the world with the same. They offer to make him her husband. He goes, no, I don't want to just force myself on her. I'd like to be somewhere where maybe she could just meet me and bump into me once and I could just get a sign that she doesn't hate me. And really, really well done. Really good. I won't tell you if he gets a sign or how. And then there's this. This took me totally by surprise because I had no idea what to make of it. The Damnation of Charlie Wormwood is...
Fun title.
Oz meets Breaking Bad. He's a teacher, professor, teaching in college. Teaching in prison. He's teaching prisoners college-level classes. His son is really sick. They don't fully explain what it is, but he's got some kind of, maybe it's cancer, maybe it's some other disease, but he's not doing well. He's lost his insurance. One of the inmates seems to know all of this because he's the kind of inmate who has access to everything in a prison. And he's offered him, the guy has a, what do they call it? The photographic memory.
Eidetic memory.
Yeah, the eidetic memory. So the guy needs specific messages. That's his deal. He wants, like, look. And the guy keeps turning it down. But by the end, things are so bad with his kid and his wife that he's seriously debating taking up on him. Based on the title being The Damnation of Charlie Wormwood, it makes sense that he's probably going to follow down these lines. So it was really good. It's all black, white, and gray tones. So it just adds to the feel. And then it's written by Christina Blanche and drawn by Chris Carr. I don't know who either of them are, but they've both impressed me with this. This is the first issue, Dynamite, so check that out. And that's it for me. I'm going to shove my head in a big can of nacho cheese sauce
And be happy.
surrounded by tortillas.